Hello, everyone. Welcome to Toronto TV. Today we have a special guest from ReelAsian, Deanna Wong. Deanna, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm okay, yeah. So, during the pandemic time, we all stay home and do the interview from home. So, Deanna, can you tell us about ReelAsian organizations?
Okay, so the Toronto ReelAsian International Film Festival has been around for 24 years. We started because one of the co-founders, Anita Lee, who is a producer, she made her first film and was touring that film in the U.S. to all these Asian American film festivals, and discovered that there was a community of Asian filmmakers that she hadn't known existed before. So when she came back to Toronto, decided that we should have a festival like that here. So here we are 24 years later. Yeah.
So in terms of like the name called Asian, you mean the film from Asia, or also including the film from Asian Canadian or Asian American?
That's correct. So the idea was always, in fact, the first year, all of the films were by Canadian and American filmmakers. So Asian Canadian and Asian American filmmakers. And the idea is that we need to see stories on screen that are made by Asian filmmakers wherever in the world they're from. Because, big film festivals like TIFF do show a lot of films from Japan, China, Hong Kong. But a lot of times those stories are completely different from our own experience of growing up and living here in North America or Australia or New Zealand or wherever you are as an Asian person. So those are the kinds of stories that we've been trying to emphasize. Okay,
that's good. The film leader is Hollywood, and then come the Bollywood, now the Asian market. So after like 20-something years, do you see a progress about the Asian films in world market or in North American market?
In the world, well, the last couple of years, there has been a significant breakthrough in terms of Asian North American stories. So, of course, I'll talk about Crazy Rich Asians. That film, there's never been a film that successful that starred, and I shouldn't say never. Of course, Joy Luck Club more than 25 years ago was that kind of film where the writer was American, Amy Tan, and then everybody on screen was Asian as well. And they were both immigrants and American-born characters. And that was highly unusual that film kind of, broke barriers, and it became sort of a mainstream successful film. But then it wasn't until, a couple of years ago that Crazy Rich Asians was able to repeat that. And since then, there's been a lot more comfort with, I guess, putting those kinds of stories on film. And of course, Netflix is really helpful too. There's been a lot of Asian American content on Netflix last little while.
Okay, that's good points. Besides the big screens in cinema, right now you got more channels, more platform to view films and watch the films.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that ReelAsian is a nonprofit. So where the fundings come from? Who pays you the salary?
Good. Well, we are a charitable organization, and we have been around for a long time, and we get a lot of government-supported funding from the Canadian government, Canadian Heritage, Canada Council, the 3 levels of arts councils, and it's because we support Canadian artists. We help them create their work, and we present it, and that's where that funding comes from. But and of course we have sponsors as well. This year our major sponsor is Bell Media.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And before you got a National Bank, something like that, yeah.
That's right. And National Bank continues to support us, but they are no longer our presenting sponsor. But they are supporting us this year as well.
Yeah. Do you find like fundraising difficult during the pandemic time?
Yeah, it is. Thanks for asking that, actually. It is, of course, at the beginning, of course, everybody was concerned about how they were going to even stay in business, let alone sponsor festivals like ours. But we are lucky that a lot of our smaller sponsors, smaller level, you know, like Hong Kong Economic Trade and Taipei TICO also continue to support us because they, like, even though we do have diasporic film film, we still show great films from Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, and elsewhere. Mostly independent films, not big blockbuster films that would find themselves in movie theaters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can you tell us about this year's ReelAsian Festival?
Yeah, so we are going online for the very first time, completely online. It's from November 12th to the 19th. And also for the first time, people from across the country will be able to attend. So we're excited about that. So up until now, of course, only if you live in the GTA or downtown Toronto could you actually come to attend the festival. But because it's online, it's this great opportunity to reach out to Asian communities from BC to the East Coast and the territories even. To come to the festival and watch what we have to offer.
So what's the lineup this year?
Well, we're opening with a documentary called Down a Dark Stairwell by an Asian American filmmaker. It's about a black man who was killed by a Chinese American police officer, and that police officer was charged with killing him, and that was in 2016, and it caused the biggest Asian American protest movement ever seen, I think. And so, but the story is about how, you know, was also a large contingent of Asian Americans who were supporting the Black Lives Matter movement because it's so rare that a police officer is charged with a crime like this, that they were supporting the Black community to try and ensure that this police officer was prosecuted for this death. So it's afterwards there's going to be a discussion about the film because I think that there are many different points of discussion about it, including, you know, anti-Blackness within the Asian community.
Okay.
So that's the opening night, and then closing night we're actually showing a live script read of a film called Scarborough. So what that means is we're Shasha Nakai, the director, has just finished a film based on a book by Catherine Hernandez called Scarborough, and we're going to have actors from the film reading parts, like a part of the script on camera, like on Zoom, and then afterwards there will be a Q&A with the director and the writer. The directors, actually, Shasha Nakai and Rich Williamson. And then it's going to be moderated by filmmaker Amar Walla. So that's our closing night.
I see. So I believe all screening are doing online. Is that right?
That's right, all online. So, and then every single film that we're showing will have a Q&A as well. Mm-hmm. Most of them will be live. But if we have a couple of Korean feature films, for example, where the directors are in Korea, and one film by a Kazakh and Japanese directors called The Horse Thieves. Those Q&As were pre-recorded, so you'll be able to watch them, but you won't be able to ask questions to the directors directly during that presentation. Okay. But we have a live schedule that's available on our main page that you can click on that will show you, you know, when our Q&As are so that you can plan your viewing. I should mention that when you, Joseph,
yeah.
You can, so how it works this year is you choose your films after you buy your tickets or your passes or whatever. You choose your films and you can watch them anytime during the week. But once you click on play, you only have 48 hours to watch it, and then the link doesn't work anymore. So you can watch any film whenever you want, except the opening night film. The opening night film, you only have 24 hours to watch it. And that was just a special, you know, request of the distributor, is that we make that film only available in Ontario and only for 24 hours because they just wanted to restrict that film. But everything else is available for 48 hours throughout the week after you click play.
Okay, so that's kind of some technology helps, right? Protect the copyright, protect the screening, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So before the pandemic, you do have invite those directors, cast come to your film festival and then get a face-to-face with the audience. Now we don't have that chances, right?
I know.
So,
I know. The sad thing, but the good thing is actually because it is via this virtual world, we are able to talk to every single one of them. Whereas before we could only bring maybe half, not even half the filmmakers. It's expensive to fly them over here and, put them up in a hotel.
Yeah, expensive.
It's expensive, but in this way, we still pay them an artist fee for participating, but every single filmmaker is able to participate as long as they have a laptop and with a video camera, and that's pretty much everybody.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And also, I think that because most films are screened in small theaters, so that they have limited audience. Now it's online. Probably you may increase your audience. Is that right? Or
we hope so. The opportunity is there for sure. Yeah, we really hope so. It's just a matter of getting the word out, I think. But also, we have to remember that some of our viewers, our audience members, are older and might have more difficulty, and so we do have more difficulty figuring out how our online platform works. Yeah. So we do have frequently asked questions and tech questions like buttons on our website.
I see.
At 3 places so that that can help you, figure out how to watch on your TV if you want, because we have an Apple TV app that you can download as well. You can Chromecast it, and of course you can just hook up your laptop to your TV and watch it that way as well.
I see that you have a live chat with agent too, so that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to the festival. Say, what's the lineup from like China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong?
So this year we don't have any actual feature films, but we have some great Taiwan content. So we have 3 short films. One's called Bind by Emery Chow Johnson, and we've got Sing Me a Lullaby by Tiffany Shung, and Isle of Chair by Ivy Chen. And Isle of Chair is an animated film, part of our ReelAsian program, which is, and it's free, that program. It's mostly 8 animated films, and along with some programming for kids. So that's Isle of Chair. And then Sing Me a Lullaby is by a Canadian filmmaker, but it's a documentary about how the mother, her mother was separated from her family as a young child, and the director goes back to Taiwan to try and find her family for her. It's a very moving documentary. So that's Sing Me a Lullaby.
Okay.
And then we have a couple of Chinese content films called Couple Portrait by a Chinese filmmaker who's based in Toronto, and then No More Parties, which is actually not by a Chinese filmmaker, but it is in Cantonese and Mandarin, the story. So that's called No More Parties.
Yeah, no more parties now.
No more parties. And then lastly, we have one Hong Kong film by Lin Han Zhang called Last Ferry from Grass Island. And that one I think is about a former hitman in his final days, and it's a dramatic film. It's quite moving.
Okay. Yeah. I think I did follow ReelAsian for a long time, and then for many years ago that some actors, some Asian actors complained that the Asian characters or Asian actors are being stereotyped. And they don't assign a certain, like the gangs members or prostitutes in American films. And I think right now we see that more Asian American, Asian Canadian become not only the actors, actresses, and also become producers or directors. Yeah. You see that's improvement about the growth of Asian American film in North America. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, and of course that's because we're also writing our own stories. You know, you can have you can have those types of characters,
Yeah.
As long as they're fully developed characters who seem real, and they're not just there for a second as, you know, an Asian, you know, delivery driver. He can be a delivery driver if he has, you know, a full life and, you know, like more speaking lines and people that, like, he seems like a real person. So this is what we're aiming to do, is to try and encourage filmmakers to tell their own stories and put people that they know have seen in their lives on screen.
I see. Okay. So my last questions. I've seen a TV drama recently from TVB Hong Kong, and then I see that the funder is from China, Tencent. So do you see the China money going to Hollywood and to get a big share of the film market worldwide?
You know, it's an interesting question. What I've been reading about is, you know, films like Mulan, right? The live action one has actually failed in China, partly because I think because that's a Disney, like it's a Disney film, and they, I think they thought because we've got Asian stars, it's this Asian story, Chinese storyline, that it would just succeed there. But in fact, I think it's been revealed that the writers and producers were all not Asian, and so the story was still problematic and had stereotypes. And so I think it shows that it shows that I think there may be an unwillingness on the Chinese audience side to embrace those kinds of stories. I don't know if I'm answering your question. I think that I think China still really wants to produce their own films and have them succeed. And the ones that break through, it seems to me that they want to still see Hollywood action films, and they don't necessarily want Hollywood to be, you know, the ones making these stories. So I don't know what the answer to that. I don't know.
So my question is that, is the China money keep influencing the production in North America or the Hollywood?
Well, if they're like I think that there's going to be producers in Hollywood wanting to work with Chinese producers for sure, and it remains to be seen. I mean, in this environment of COVID, it's hard to even shoot. You know, so we don't even know what kind of content is going to be coming out in the next couple of years. It's going to be less, that's for sure. At least for the, you know, so many productions had been halted, and I think it's going to affect the types of stories that we see too. Perhaps.
Okay, that's good. But I believe film industry, the potential is enormous, because I'm during pandemic, I still watch the movies from 60s, 70s, still enjoying those films.
Older films.
Yeah, so it's everlasting.
It's true, because I mean, if there's no new content, then absolutely there's so much older content that people that, you know, got bypassed the first time.
You know, I take a different perspective. You know, each film from different era, they have different perspective or meaning for that era. So that the new film has reflecting present, and the old film reflecting the past, but they have maybe something in common about the emotion, inspiration. Yeah. So.
That's true too.
Yeah, that's why we still watching the old movies. So. Anyway, it's good to talk to you, and then I hope that ReelAsian have another success year this year.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you.
We're keeping contact for the new development about the ReelAsian. All right?
Yes, please. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.